Hello there. Welcome to the Academic Hive Research Bootcamp, an intensive but exciting training for you to develop in-depth knowledge and skills for research. So whether you're a student, a worker, or an educator, this program will help prepare you for a successful research career. My name is Grace Ihejamaizu Paul Anietie, the co-founder of Academic Hive, a PhD candidate and a university lecturer with 8 years experience. Today, I will take you through the introductory part of research. Let's get started. This session is in 3 parts. We will learn what is research, importance of research, and critical skills necessary for researchers. We all know what research is. It's the thing we do when we want to find something out. No matter what career field you are in or how far you go, there's always more to learn. Research unlocks the unknown. It allows you to explore the world from different perspectives, and it fuels a deeper understanding of a phenomenon or issue you are interested in studying. The word research originated from the old French word researcher, meaning to search and search again. The re expresses intensive force. So literally, it implies repeating a search for something. And it also assumes that the earlier search was not exhaustive. Research is a process to discover new knowledge. It is different from other forms of discovering knowledge, like reading a book or watching television, because it uses a systematic process called the scientific method. Now take a look at this diagram. The scientific method consists of observing the world around you and creating a hypothesis about relationships in the world. A hypothesis, by the way, is an informed prediction about something. When a researcher forms a hypothesis, this acts like a map through the research study. It tells the researcher which factors are important to study and how they might be related to each other, or how they are caused by manipulation that the researcher introduces. With this map, the researcher can interpret the information he or she collects and can make sound conclusions about the results. Now let's look at what research is. Research is a process of systematic inquiry that entails collection of data, documentation of critical information, and analysis and interpretation of that data in accordance with suitable methodologies set by specific professional fields and academic disciplines. Research, put differently, is a careful and detailed study into a specific problem, concern, or issue using the scientific method. To help us better understand what research is, perhaps we need to look at some of what research is not. Sometimes you can see something more clearly by describing what it isn't. Number 1, research isn't just data gathering. Data gathering, I agree, is a vital part of research, but it doesn't lead to new knowledge without some analysis. It requires some extra work or further work. So just collecting data doesn't count unless you do something else with that data. For example, you can use data to come up with recommendations that can inform policy. And you can use data to solve problems in a community. Number 2, research isn't just about methodology. If you're using the same method on the same data, exploring the same question, then you will almost certainly get the same results. And that is repetition, not research. Doing research means you are using a new data set or using the method in a new way or testing a new hypothesis. Finally, research isn't repetition except in a few cases. If you are doing the same thing that someone else has done already, then generally that isn't research unless you are specifically trying to prove or disprove their work. I remember when my professor told me that your work isn't research, except it brings something new to the table or it adds value to the field of inquiry. You start. It has already been verified many times before. Now, let's look at the importance of research. Why should we do research? For those who like to learn, whether they are members of a research institution or not, conducting research is not just important, it is crucial. It is imperative. Research can be done, can be one of the most interesting features of any field of inquiry because it offers you a measure of control over what you learn. It gives you an opportunity to confirm, clarify, pursue, or even discover new aspects of a subject or topic you are interested in through the application of scientific methods. So understanding that research is important might seem like a no-brainer, right? But many people run away from it. Yet for those of us who like to learn, whether we are members of research institutions or not, research is imperative. It informs actions, gathers evidence for theories, and contributes to developing knowledge in a field of study. Now, the first importance of research is that it is a tool for building knowledge and for facilitating learning. What do I mean? Research expands knowledge base. The most obvious reason to do research is that you will learn more. There's always something new to learn about a topic, even if you are already well versed in it. If you aren't, then research allows you to build on any personal experience you have with that subject matter. The process of research opens up new opportunities for learning and growth. The second importance is that it is a means to understand various issues and increase public awareness. Research gives you the latest information. It encourages you to find the most recent available information. So in certain fields, especially scientific ones, there's always new information and discoveries being made. So staying updated prevents you from falling behind and giving information that is not accurate or that doesn't paint the whole picture. With the latest information, you'll be better equipped to talk about a subject and build on ideas. The third point is research is a way to prove lies and support truths. Think about it. In relationships, if something is not going right, you might find yourself engaging in some form of investigation just to find the truth. The same applies to research. Also, this can be done through field testing and peer reviews. So scientists, for example, deal with research to test the validity and reliability of their claims or those of other scientists. However, not everything scientists come up with gets accepted. Scientific work is typically peer reviewed and criticized before being published. This means that when an individual publishes research, it is fact-checked and it is also investigated for common biases, statistical errors, and methodological issues by others in the field before being shared with the scientific community at large. The next point is that research builds your credibility. People would take what you have to say more seriously when they can tell that you are well informed. Doing research gives you a solid foundation on which you can build your ideas and opinions. You can speak with confidence about what you know is accurate when you've done the research. When you've done research, it is also much harder for someone to poke holes into what you're saying. Your research should be focused on the best sources. And if your research consists of opinions from non-experts, you won't be very credible. When your research is good, people are more likely to pay attention. The next point is that it promotes a love for reading, writing, analyzing, sharing valuable information. Reading, writing, listening, and speaking are vital and integral to conducting research. Conducting interviews, attending knowledge-generating events, and participating in casual talks can help you gather information and formulate research topics. I have personally experienced that. I came up with a fantastic research idea by just conversing with a friend. These things also facilitate our critical thinking skills and process. Because listening to experts discuss their work can help us analyze issues from new perspectives, and it can add techniques to our information gathering arsenal. The final point is research helps you narrow your scope. When you're circling a topic for the first time, you might not be exactly sure where to start. Just like me, and most of the time, the amount of work ahead of you is overwhelming. So whether you're writing a paper or formulating a business plan, it is important to narrow the scope at some point, and research helps you identify the most unique and important themes to focus on. So you can then choose the themes that best fit into your project or your overall research goals. Now let's look at some of the critical skills that are necessary for research. You see, there are so many useful skills you develop while doing your research. From critical thinking to being able to evaluate your work, setting the right goals, report writing, and all of that, to time management. However, the research world is rapidly changing. So there are skills you need to develop now to make you ready for the future of research. What are some of those skills? Number one, communication. Research communication is essential. Communicating what you do and how you do it is an essential skill for the future. It involves communicating your research in an engaging manner and in an understandable way to those people who are outside of the academia. Think about the government, for example, and if you have to share your research outcomes with them, how would they understand your research and what it communicates? A key tip in communication is that it has to be two-way. We need to find a way or mechanisms where we're not only explaining what we're doing, but we're actively listening for feedback, listening for engagement. Communication is an important skill of the future that we must have as researchers. Second, research collaboration. Is your research relevant to businesses, NGOs, government, policymakers, or industry? By exploring research collaboration opportunities outside of the academia, your research could have even greater impact in the world. For example, you can involve experts in the business and industry as research assistants, as expert advisors. Whatever the case may be, you can find ways to collaborate with stakeholders and people from outside of the academia to achieve greater impact for your research. Third, digital skills. Today, there is myriads of digital tools and technologies out there that you can use as a researcher. These tools are social media, video platforms like YouTube, blogging platforms, programming, even simple design skills. All of these skills will help you communicate your research better, design your research, analyze your data, and do so much with your research. The next point is research using open research practices. So I learned about this about 5 years ago. Open access, open research is a practice of the future that you might want to adopt. So it's important to pay attention to everything relating to open access. There are many ways you can make your research more open. You can publish your research on open access platforms. You can share data associated with your research in a repository, or you can even simply share information more openly with your colleagues. Open research can help policymakers, educators, and practitioners access your research and put it into action. It can also support research validation, research transparency, reproducibility, and replicability of results. The other skill is critical thinking, essential. Critical thinking skills can aid you greatly throughout the research process and as an employee in general, maybe at an institution. So critical thinking refers to your data analysis skills. So when you are in the throes of research, you need to be able to analyze your results and then make logical decisions about your findings. Finally, you need to have the ability to dialogue. This point cannot be overemphasized. Your ability to dialogue and be curious about what other people are doing is good. But while doing so, you need to also know how to maintain your own specificity. That is what is really needed. These are the skills for the future. And I hope that you will start learning some of them, adopting some of them, so that you can be fully prepared for future research. To conclude, no matter what the topic is being studied, the value of research depends on not what you say, but how well it is designed and how well it is done. The outcome matters. Research is as important as life itself. It provides a building block upon which societal growth and advancement is hinged. Research is important because it informs actions, it gathers evidence for theories, and it contributes to developing knowledge in a field of study. Researchers like you and me need to develop critical skills relevant for future research. I hope you've learned about research, you understand the importance of research, and you also know the critical skills that you need to start developing to become relevant in the future of research. Thank you.